All right, so it's JP here back with my Week 4 NFL picks and predictions. But before we get into Week 4, let's see how I did in Week 3. Week 3 was a very good week for me. A nice bounce back to a rough start to the season for the first 2 weeks. On my straight up head-to-head picks, I went 13-3. My 3 losses were actually pretty surprising games. The Colts beat the Ravens. Yeah, I could see that happening, but I was still a little surprised that it did. And then you had the Cowboys losing to the Cardinals. Definitely did not see that one coming at all, especially with the way the Cowboys had been playing going into that game. And my third loss was the Jacksonville Jaguars losing to the Houston Texans. Did not see that one coming. Jacksonville looks a little iffy right now. Let's just be real. Definitely starting to get a clearer picture for which teams are going to stand out. I got 4 teams that are really like at the cream of the crop right now, in no particular order. I got the 49ers, Philadelphia, the Chiefs, and the Miami Dolphins. Those stand out the most to me. Obviously, 3 of those teams are still undefeated, so it's a no-brainer there. But the Chiefs are starting to look really good, and their defense is playing really good football. A lot of people aren't focused on their defense, but they've been playing great football this season. I have noticed that. So against the spread, I actually did really well. Also, I was 3-1 this past week. The only miss was the Cardinals-Cowboys game. I really thought the Cowboys would take it to them, and I was wrong. But the 49ers, the Eagles, and the New England Patriots all came through for me. My totals predictions did not go well, though. Washington just couldn't put up enough points in that game against the Bills. So I did not hit the over there, and I also did not hit the over on the Monday night game with the Eagles and Bucks. Bucks just could not score enough points, and the Eagles were dominating the field, the time of possession, and they just ran the clock out essentially to end that game. So that hurt a little bit. But so on the season, my against the spread record is for the season my against the spread record is now 4-6-1. My straight up picks are now at 27-21, so I'm above 500. Hopefully I stay that way and I do build on that. And then on my totals picks, I am now 1-3 for the seasons. I'm going to start out going over my head-to-head picks for the week. So on Thursday night, we have the Detroit Lions taking on Green Bay Packers in Green Bay. It looks like Christian Watson's going to be able to suit up for the Packers, but they do have some other injuries. Jair Alexander is going to miss that game. He's a big piece of that defense. And I'm not sure if A.J. Dillon will get the start at running back, but it looks like he might. Detroit had a nice bounce-back win against the Falcons. I'm going to take the Lions on the road. I just think they have a good squad. They've been a little up and down this year, but I'm not sold on Green Bay just yet, so I'm going to go with Detroit. Atlanta Falcons playing the Jaguars in London. Jacksonville has not looked good this year, and Atlanta's been kind of up and down as well, but I could see this game kind of going either way. I'm actually going to probably give a nod to the Atlanta Falcons in this one, just because Jacksonville got beaten pretty badly by the Houston Texans. I think Atlanta can at least push them, and London's not exactly a home field advantage for either team, so I could see it being a close one, but I'm going to go with Atlanta in this one. Next, we have the Baltimore Ravens at the Cleveland Browns. Baltimore had a loss in overtime against the Colts, and the Browns, their defense continues to roll. Obviously, they lost Nick Chubb, but they were able to, score enough points and really blow the Titans out last week. So I'm going to go with the Cleveland Browns at home. Their defense is really impressive right now, and I think they're going to make life difficult for Lamar Jackson. Next, you have the Cincinnati Bengals at the Tennessee Titans. Joe Burrow was able to play through the pain on Monday night, getting a much-needed W, so that his team got its first win. And then the Titans just looked lousy against the Browns, as I just mentioned. I'm going to go with the Bengals here on the road. I know the Bengals don't look great yet, but their defense is playing well. The Titans' offense just doesn't look like it's got its stuff together right now, so I'm going to go with the Bengals in that game. Next up, we have the Denver Broncos at the Chicago Bears. Josh Fields looks like a mess on one hand. On the other hand, Denver Broncos just got dropped by 50 points by the Dolphins. Didn't see that blowout coming. But one of these teams has to win, right? Like, one of them will win. I don't think it'll end in a tie. Highly unlikely. I'm going to favor the Denver Broncos just because I think Russell Wilson's playing better than Justin Fields. That's what it really comes down to for me in this game. I don't love it, but I think Denver is going to be able to win that game. I think Chicago's maybe taking the mantle for the worst team in football right now. They're fighting hard for it, you know. Next, we have the Rams at the Colts. So the Rams, they had that nice opening week victory, and they've kind of gone backwards ever since. I'm actually going to go with the Colts in this one. Anthony Richardson looks like he's slated to return, and even if he doesn't, Gardner Minshew can fill in serviceably for them. The Rams just look like they're not on the same page. Matthew Stafford doesn't have any protection. It felt like the Bengals were right in his face all game long. So I'm going to go with the Colts there. Miami Dolphins at the Buffalo Bills. So the Dolphins came off of scoring all those points. The Bills came off of a nice, impressive win against the Commanders. I'm going to roll with the Dolphins here just because they are looking that good. These two teams met in the playoffs last year, but of course Tua was unable to suit up. I'm going to go with the Dolphins, but it should be a good game. Next up, we have the Minnesota Vikings taking on the Carolina Panthers. So the Vikings cannot catch their first victory. They literally dropped a touchdown in that game that turned into an interception. Carolina Panthers, they're kind of working through some stuff too. I'm going to roll with the Vikings here. I think they're due. They're a better team than their record would indicate. They're just not able to finish out these games. All those close games last year that they've won, this year they're not winning. They're losing. So I'm going with the Vikings there. Pittsburgh Steelers at the Houston Texans. Steelers grinded out that victory against the Raiders. Nice win on the road. Once again, I'm going to go with the Steelers. I think they're going to start to find some offensive rhythm. Their defense is going to play well. We already know that. Houston's got a young quarterback. You know, Houston came off a nice victory, but I'm going to go with Pittsburgh. Next up, we have the Tampa Bay Bucks versus the New Orleans Saints. Both teams kind of had lackluster performances. Jameis Winston looks like he'll suit up, start that game for the Saints, facing his former team. I'm going to roll with the Tampa Bay Bucks just because, you know, the Eagles are a really good team. They're going to make a lot of teams look like they're not very good. They were 2-0 going into that. New Orleans just, I don't know. They haven't been able to find their offense this year, it seems like. And I'm not sure Jameis Winston is the answer. I think if Derek Carr were to play, I think I would have picked the Saints. But without him, I'm going to roll with the Bucks. Next up, you got the Philadelphia Eagles taking on the Washington Commanders in Philly. I got to go with the Eagles there. The Eagles are just one of the top teams, as I mentioned earlier. I think until somebody proves otherwise or they get some injuries, they're going to remain up there. Arizona Cardinals at the San Francisco 49ers. Once again, the 49ers are one of the elite teams in the league. Arizona had a nice victory. I just don't see them being able to beat the 49ers. So I'm going to go with the 49ers. Las Vegas Raiders taking on the Chargers. Chargers had a nice victory last week. It looks like Jimmy G is in concussion protocol. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to play in this one. I'm going to go with the Chargers. The Chargers did lose Mike Williams for the season, so that was a big blow to them. But, you know, they still have Keenan Allen. And I'm not sure if Austin Eckler is going to be able to go in this, but Justin Herbert, he can throw it around. So I'll go with the Chargers there. Next, you have the Patriots taking on the Cowboys in Dallas. You know, after that showing that they had in Arizona, there's part of me that's getting a little nervous about picking Dallas in this game, but I think they'll bounce back. I do think it'll be a close one, though. I think, you know, Arizona might have exposed some weaknesses of Dallas. Next up, we have Kansas City versus the New York Jets. Give me the Chiefs all day in this one. You know, Mahomes looks like he found his rhythm last week against the Bears. I think he's going to keep it going next weekend against the Jets. Seattle Seahawks at the New York Giants. I'm going to go with the Seattle. And for our Monday night game, you got the Seattle Seahawks taking on the New York Giants. Even though they're going on the road, I think the Seahawks are going to win that game. I just think they have too many offensive weapons. And Danny Dimes just hasn't taken the next step for me. I don't think Saquon Barkley will be able to play in that game either, so that'll hurt the Giants as well. Give me Seattle in that game. For my against the spread picks, first up, I have Detroit Lions -2. I think they're going to be able to win that game by at least a field goal in Green Bay. think they're going to move the ball. They won that Week 17 game at Lambeau Field last year. My next one, I'm going to go with the Cincinnati Bengals -2.5. They're also on the road, but I think they're going to, start to reel off some victories. They're a really good team. They just haven't, connected yet. Joe Burrow hasn't played really great yet, but I think he's starting to find his rhythm again. Hopefully this injury can play through, so I'm going to go with the Bengals -2.5. Next, I have the Kansas City Chiefs -9.5. They're also on the road, but they're rolling. I don't think the Jets' offense can keep up with them. I got the Chiefs covering that spread. And my last pick of the week will be the Seattle Seahawks +1 on Monday Night Football, also on the road. I got the Road Warriors going this weekend. Give me them to cover the spread. For my totals picks, I only have one play for you this week. I have the Kansas City Chiefs, New York Jets game going over 41.5 points. I think the Chiefs offense is too good to not score in the high 20s, maybe low 30s. I think the Jets will break off a couple touchdowns. They'll put that game on the over. So that's my pick. Let's see how I do. Thanks for watching and enjoy some football.